We're going to have a look at x and y intercepts of straight line graphs. When we talk about a y-intercept, what we mean is where the graph meets or cuts the y-axis. So where this graph meets or cuts this y-axis, and hopefully you can see quite clearly it's at this point here where the graph meets the y-axis. And so you can read off that point the y-intercept in this point. Now with the y-intercept, obviously because it's on the y-axis, the x value of that will always be 0, and the y value in this case is 4. Now the x-intercept is a very similar story, except what you're talking about is where the graph cuts the x-axis. And so you can see here that what we're talking about is this point over there, and that's your x-intercept. Now obviously because it is where it cuts the x-axis, right, it's on the x-axis, so your y value there is 0, and here in this case your x value is -2. Now let's look at how we could have worked that out, each of these out, from the actual equation of the graph. And it's very, very simple. For your y-intercept, as we saw, it's where the graph cuts the y-axis, so the x value is 0. So to work out your y-intercept, you put x equal to 0 in the equation. So what you'll get is that y is 2 times 0 plus 4, which is equal to 4. So your x value is 0, and here you've worked out your y value is 4. What about for your x-intercept? Well, hopefully you can think that one through and say, well, because it's on the x-axis, your y value must be 0, and so you're going to put y is 0 in that equation, and you're going to work out what x is. So what we can do here is then we can say minus 2x is 4, divide each side by -2, and we'll get x is -2, and that tells us our x-intercept is -2, 4. Okay, I want you to do one for yourself. A graph of y is equal to -2x plus 1. What I want you to do for me is to work out what the y-intercept is and also what the x-intercept is, and then plot those two in order to draw the graph. Pause the video and try it now. Okay, let's hope you got your facts right. Y-intercept, always you're going to put x is equal to 0 because you want to be on the y-axis. So you're going to get y is equal to -0 plus 1, which is just 1. And I hope you are really just noticing that it's really this value here that's always going to be the actual y value of the y-intercept, right? Because this will always end up being the 0, you know. X is 0, then you've got -2 times 0, it's 0, right? So you're really going to be left with that. Okay, so your y-intercept is always very easy to get. You're really just going to read it off from here. Okay, the x-intercept we always do have to do a little bit of work for. We have to put y is equal to 0, so we're going to put 0 is equal to -2x plus 1. So 2x is equal to 1, so x is equal to 1/2. So our x-intercept is 1/2 0. And then we can actually just plot each of those. So if I put my x-intercept there at 1/2 0, and I put my y-intercept there at 0 1, and then I just take a ruler and draw in those two things with a straight line, I will have my graph. So just to recap everything we've had about straight lines so far, what we have is that straight lines have got the equation form y is equal to mx plus c. And we saw that that m, that was telling us about the gradient of the graph, right? How steep the graph is. And this C we've just had a look at now is really what's going to get out when you put x is equal to 0. So it's going to give you that y value of your y-intercept, right? It's going to tell you the point where you cross the y-axis. So it actually makes a very nice picture. Y equals mx plus c, we can already know a lot about the graph just simply from looking at that. Now there are just two other funny kinds of straight line graphs that we just need to have a look at, because the normal kind is this kind, right, where you've got like 2x plus 1, and you'd immediately know, okay, it crosses the the y-axis where you've got a y value of 1, and it's going to have a gradient of 2, and you can draw that, right? You've learned how to do that, right? So that's your normal kind, but we're not going to look at the normal kind now. We're going to look at the funny kind, and the funny kind will be something like this. It's something that says y is equal to 3. And what that says is that no matter what value of x you're at, your y value must be at 3. So when x is 5, your y value must be 3. When x is minus 6, your y value must be 3. When x is 0, your y value must be 3. Absolutely everywhere, your y value must be 3. And what you'll end up with when you draw that is absolutely everywhere your y value is 3. So you end up with a horizontal line. And this is what you would expect, because actually you can see here it's got a gradient. There's no m, right? The m is 0. And so it's got a gradient of 0. It doesn't go up and it doesn't go down. The other funny one, which I'm just going to do in a different color, is going to be this one. Say we have to draw the graph of x is equal to 2. It's a very similar story. What this says is it doesn't matter to me what your y value is. I need your x value to be 2. So no matter what, no matter where, your x value must be 2. And so you'll end up with a vertical line like that. X equals 2.